I love you. I love you most.
Hello and welcome to episode 19 of the Decent Wrestling Show. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. We're only 284 subscribers away from 1,000, which will be a huge landmark. Also check out this week as I released 2 videos this week instead of the one. There was a Saray MV which is not getting enough love. Please check that one out and make sure to leave a like and a comment with any feedback. It can be critical feedback if you want, or positive feedback. And then also check out my top 50 Joshi's video, which is actually surprisingly done quite well. So thank you for that. Except for the one comment that said, "This list is brutal." Thank you for that as well. It is what it is. But it's my top 50 active Joshis. Make sure to give that a check out. And enjoy the show. NXT 2.0. NXT 2.0 started with a ladder match as Kaylee Ray took on Dakota Kai. 3 3/4, a great ladder match. Didn't go too long, didn't overstay its welcome. But nice fun brutality and some unique spots in a great back and forth opening match. A really fun way to start the show. Definitely go and check this one out. We saw MSK, who are going to meet their shaman next week. There was a really funny moment with Wesley and Satnav, which was got a good laugh out of me.
Wait, did this thing just call you a dip?
You have reached your destination, and it's about time. It's only taken you 5 weeks. Gentlemen, the shaman is inside. Go forth and find your destiny.
I don't know where I got this GPS from, dude.
I don't even care, but it better watch his ass.
No, you'll watch your ass.
Stop! We're here.
Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner beat Legado del Fantasma to earn a shot at the tag titles. 3.5 stars. I thought it was a very good tag match. Legado really impressed me, especially Raul Mendoza. I really love watching Raul Mendoza wrestle. Solo Sikoa took on a guy called Inoue. I can't remember his last name, but Inoue. Solo Sikoa did pick up the victory, and Boa interrupted afterwards, so maybe there'll be a feud there between Solo and Boa. Tiffany Stratton had another vignette, once again putting the Wrestling Observer in the mud, as they claimed that it was being dropped. It hasn't been dropped, it's staying. Joe Gacy and a Diamond Mine had a fun segment. Joe Gacy was having an invitational against 3 people, a fat dude, a very small dude, and a woman. He beat up the small dude, beat him easily, and then was going to face the woman, but then Roderick Strong came out, and, I said it was a complete joke, all this, and there was a bit of a brawl. Joe Gacy got the upper hand. NXT versus NXT 2.0. 2.0 all had a promo in the ring. Very good stuff from all 4 of them. Grayson Waller is a really good promo artist. A great punchable heel. Mello doesn't miss. Tony D is always entertaining. And Bron Breakker is very, very good. Johnny Gargano interrupted them, as it was going to be Gargano versus Bron Breakker in a ladder match for the WarGames advantage. Great promo here from Johnny. Then we got into the main event, Gargano and Bron Breakker in a ladder match, 4.25 stars, absolutely terrific match. One of the best match on NXT 2.0 so far, absolutely insane stuff. Both gave it the all. Bron Breakker looks like an absolute star every time. How he's already managing to put on these great matches against Ciampa and Gargano is insane. Props to him. He's definitely going to have a bright future. Bron Breakker did pick up the victory in the ladder match after giving his finisher to Gargano, but great back and forth. At any point any of them could have won. On the digital exclusives, LA Knight and the rest of the NXT team had an amazing promo that you should definitely check out on WWE's YouTube. Absolutely, LA Knight is just a class on the mic, A class. NXT UK. Not much notes on NXT UK. Meiko Satomura beat Xia Brookside in a pretty decent 3-star match. I'm assuming Xia Brookside will continue to complain as it was too short notice and there'll be a rematch down the line. Meiko is now in America, although I believe she's going back to Japan for a few weeks before she returns to the UK. A nice cinematic segment with Charlie Dempsey being welcomed into the Rowan Raja and Tioman family. And then we main evented with Rampage Brown versus Ilya Dragunov for the UK Championship. 3.25 stars. Why is it so low? Because it only went about 10 minutes before there was an injury to Rampage Brown. It looked like he got kicked right in the side of the head or like in the nose area. And he just went down and they had to call off the match. Hopefully everything's alright with Rampage Brown. I believe this was a real injury. So hopefully a speedy recovery. Ilya picks up the victory via referee stoppage. Smackdown. Brock Lesnar and Sami Zayn. Their opening segment was hilarious. Babyface Brock killed it in this. Their interactions was very funny. Brock basically pressured Sami Zayn to challenge Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship on this Smackdown instead of day one. Sami Zayn agreed, mainly because Brock was going to kill him if he didn't. He tried to get out of it with Sonya Deville, but Brock came up right behind him, and obviously Sami then chickened out, and we got the match later in the night. Sasha Banks and Shayna Baszler, 3.5 stars, a very good match, surprisingly very good match. Really nice stuff. My favourite moment was the knee in the corner from Shayna Baszler. It looked like Sasha was dead after that. Just brutal stuff. In the end, Sasha picked up the victory, although neither one of them could tap each other out. We then had Happy Talk, as Madcap Moss made jokes about Jeff Hardy and Drew McIntyre, who then came out and beat them up. Xia Li will be debuting next week. Can't wait to see her debut, and hopefully she has a prosperous career. New Day and the Usos feud continued as Kofi Kingston, the Hand of the King, made his return. They are going to have a tag team title match at day 1. Should be a banger. New Day and the Usos never miss. Toni Storm got revenge on Charlotte Flair, who did cut a very good heel promo, as usual, running down Toni Storm. Toni then threw a pie in her face on the entrance ramp, getting her revenge after last week. Great character work from Charlotte Flair in this one. Cesaro and Sheamus had a pretty decent match. It went very short though. Sheamus picked up the victory after a bro kick after a really fast-paced ending, referencing the bar stuff they did together a few years ago. I really wish the bar would come back. That was an excellent tag team. Then the main event was Roman Reigns against Sami Zayn for the Universal Championship. Unfortunately, before the match, Sami Zayn did fall over. Luckily, Brock Lesnar helped him up and propped him up in the corner, ready for the match, which Roman Reigns won in 17 seconds with a spear. Great episode of Smackdown, really enjoyable. The bookends, again, opening and ending segments were fun. Baszler and Banks was a very good match. Cesaro Sheamus was good. New Day and Usos continuing their stuff. Charlotte was a good promo. Xia Li's going to be in next week. Flew by. Good show. WarGames. NXT WarGames happened on the 5th of December 2021. 5 matches on this show. 2 absolutely excellent matches. 1 other great match. And the other 2 were pretty decent and solid enough. We'll start with the weakest match of the night, which was Duke Hudson and Cameron Grimes in a hair versus hair match. It was nothing special. It was a fine match. I thought the finish was a bit flat, but Cameron Grimes picked up the victory as you'd expect, as the heel always loses these types of matches, and Duke had his head shaved. I mean, he didn't really have much in the first place, so it wasn't really a big loss. But it was a fine match, and hopefully 2022 Cameron Grimes has some an amazing year because I think he's a great performer. Fourth was Roderick Strong and Joe Gacy, 3.5 stars, very good match, but just your standard very good match. Roderick Strong did pick up the victory. There was a big moment where I thought Joe Gacy was going to pick up the victory, some good near falls. He also did a front flip to the outside, a big dive, which I didn't expect from Joe Gacy, but a good performance from him. He's so punchable, so I'm glad Roderick Strong retained. Then we had the NXT Tag Team Championship match as Imperium took on Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner. Great match, 3 3/4, really great match. Fabian Eichner was absolutely a star in this. He was phenomenal. His strength and speed is insane. What a crazy dude. You've got to love Fabian Eichner. They did pick up the victory after some amazing back and forth. There was also a great sequence with Kyle O'Reilly and I believe it was Fabian Eichner. But great sequences, really enjoyable stuff. Could have gone anywhere near the end, even though Kyle is leaving NXT reportedly. We'll see if he is. Von Wagner tried to turn heel on Kyle, but Kyle saw it coming and beat up Von Wagner. They're going to have a steel cage match on Tuesday, which either could be the send-off for Kyle O'Reilly unless he is staying with NXT. Second best match of the night was the women's WarGames match, as Toxic Attraction and Dakota Kai took on the team of Io Shirai, Raquel Gonzalez, Cora Jade and Kaylee Ray. Insane stuff. Some of the stuff that was done in this match was incredible. Cora Jade did a excellent dive from the top of the cage, like a swanton dive, off the top of the cage, which looked brutal. After that, she landed on her shoulder. Dr. Io Shirai popped it back in place, but her selling of the shoulder was phenomenal. I genuinely thought she was injured, but apparently she was not. There was a really funny moment where Dakota Kai got put in a bin and swung around in the bin, which was really funny. Just great brutality and awesome opener to the night. Loads of memorable moments in this. Everyone got a shine as well. Everyone looked good. And Cora Jade with a breakout star-making performance. Phenomenal stuff from her. Definitely go out of your way to check this match out. 4.25 stars. In the end, Cora Jade picked up the victory out of nowhere. Wish the finish was a bit flat, but don't let that ruin the rest of the match. Breakout performance from Cora Jade, and everyone played their parts well. I also thought a second person who really stood out was Gigi Dolan. I thought she did really excellently. But they kept it interesting for the whole time. Great brutality, awesome match. Then the main event, the final match, the WarGames match, NXT vs NXT 2.0. Tony D'Angelo.
How you doing?
Bron Breakker, Carmelo Hayes, and Grayson Waller took on Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Pete Dunne, or Petey Poppins, and
L.A. Knight.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Go and check this match out. 4.5 stars. Insanity. All 8 guys in this deserve props. No weak links in this. Everyone just was on top of their game. This match was insane. There was one moment where Grayson Waller was on the top rope. LA Knight out of nowhere jumps straight up to the top rope and hits a belly-to-belly superplex through a table. Crazy spot. Later in the match, Grayson Waller did a dive off the cage, a elbow drop through a table, and LA Knight, again, insane stuff. There were some great moments where, all the NXT team, the old NXT team, were down and out in like the centerpiece of the cage, and all fired each other back up, and beat up NXT 2.0. Just felt like a war of attrition. Great fight, brutal stuff. Johnny Gargano sacrificed himself so Ciampa could take out Carmelo Hayes and Gargano at the same time. He then looked to finish with a fairy tale ending on Grayson Waller, but out of nowhere, Bron Breakker with a spear through a table, brilliant looking spear by the way. He then picked up Ciampa and hit the power slam for the victory. Bron pins Tommaso Ciampa, and I expect at New Year's Eve on January 4th he'll be winning the title. Out with the old, in with the new. Awesome main event with the correct result with 2.0 picking up the victory. Bron Breakker definitely is the future of professional wrestling. Now, it has also been said that Johnny Gargano is leaving NXT. I'm hoping this is not true, but we will see on Tuesday whether this is true, because this is being recorded before then. Maybe I'll add in a part afterwards, because I usually watch NXT after this podcast is released. But we'll see what's going to happen with Johnny. I'm hoping he's staying with NXT. I don't see why he'd leave NXT to be a bit part player elsewhere. But yeah, maybe he's taking a break from wrestling. Who knows? But we'll see what's going to happen with Johnny Gargano. But hopefully he stays, because he's always been in the top card at NXT, and I don't see why that wouldn't continue. But WarGames was a pretty fun show. WarGames matches itself were excellent. Update. I haven't watched NXT yet, but I did see the news that Johnny Gargano is leaving. He was attacked by Grayson Waller after his speech. I haven't watched the speech, I just saw parts of it. But it looks like he is, just stepping away from wrestling in general to take care of his family first at the start of the new year. And then maybe we'll see him back in NXT or WWE in the future, later in 2022. Monday Night Raw. We opened with a massive steel cage match as Kevin Owens took on Big E. I thought this was an excellent back and forth match. Also had a great story with Seth Rollins on the outside, really trying to keep them going, motivating them to continue on, because he wanted them to beat each other up so they'd be easier and more susceptible to being pinned at day one in the triple threat match. But these two both gave it all. Very hard hitting contest. In the end, a big ending from the top rope from Big E, and he escaped by walking out of the cage. So Kevin Owens wasn't pinned, which was good. So he keeps strong that way, and Big E picks up the victory so he doesn't look like a weak champion just losing. So great opener. 3 3/4. Definitely a very good match. After it, Seth Rollins attacked Big E, but Big E got his revenge quickly and got the upper hand until Bobby Lashley attacked all three men and laid them out. Definitely looking like either Bobby Lashley will be the contender after day one at Royal Rumble for whoever wins, or alternatively it will be a fatal 4-way. We'll see what happens next week. RK Bro were very entertaining as usual. Riddle did actually get Randy Orton to wear a blazer, which was very funny. Randy Orton's facial expressions are priceless in this team. But they had a tournament. They set up a tournament with 4 teams in it, so not a big tournament, but just 4 teams. Street Profits took on Styles and Omos and actually picked up the victory, as Omos got himself counted out by accident. And then after Styles talked to Omos walked away. So it looks like we could be seeing the end of that tag team. I think it's time to move on from it, to be honest. They've done everything they can. So the Profits go to the finals next week, and it was the Mysterios, Rey and Dominic Mysterio, taking on Alpha Academy, and the Mysterios picked up the victory in another decent short match. So it will be the Profits versus the Mysterios next week. Either team, that's going to be a good match, and either team that wins will surely have a great match with RK Bro. I expect that to be taking place at day one. We then had Edge and The Miz had a segment on Miz TV amazing stuff from both these guys, as you'd expect. It's so good to have Miz back. We've really missed him. He's just such a brilliant character to have on screen, because he plays the coward heel so perfectly, but also the entitled rich boy heel as well. Just he plays his characters to perfection, and he's super entertaining and a great speaker. And they both played on each other. Miz said basically that he was disrespected his entire career. He mentioned being kicked out of the locker room in 2006, and said Edge was a part of that. And Edge retorted saying he pulled Miz aside and told him he had that it factor, and Miz kind of blew him off from that. They set up a match from day one. It's going to take place at day one. So Miz definitely, I suppose his character at the moment is, he's annoyed that he's not getting the respect that he feels he deserves. Even though there are people showing respect. I mean, Edge is showing him respect and kindness. But Miz just can't accept that, because Miz has to be right, and he's made the assumption that he's not getting respect. So he's not going to admit he's wrong, is he? He's not going to say, "Oh, sorry Edge, you're correct." So I do like that he's in that denial phase. And the match at January 1st on day one should be a great show. Should be a great match. We then had Damian Priest take on Bobby Roode in the US Open Challenge. Pretty good match, actually. Nice back and forth stuff. Roode got a surprising lot of offense, and it actually looked like he could have won off a spine buster, but Priest did pick up the victory after a nice sequence to finish it. Another win for Damian Priest, which is a good thing. Bianca Belair took on Doudrop in quite a long match, actually. I gave it 3.25 stars. I thought it was quite a good match. A bit slow at the start from Doudrop, but they picked up near the end and they had a pretty decent match. It looked like Bianca was going to pick up Doudrop for the KOD, but Doudrop escaped and left and got herself counted out. So we haven't seen the end of that one. We continued the McMahon Theory stuff, expect the unexpected, and Theory then later in the night attacked Finn Balor after he defeated Mace quite easily. And so it looks like that'll be the feud going forward for Theory and Balor, which should actually be a banger of a match if they're given time. The main event was for the Raw Women's Championship, and it went exactly how I expected. Becky Lynch retained over Liv Morgan through underhanded means, which means it will likely be a rematch at day one where Liv Morgan picks up the title. It was a decent match. I gave it just about 3 stars. Liv Morgan really didn't impress me in this match. I still like Liv Morgan, don't get me wrong. I don't want people to think I don't like Liv Morgan, I do, but I just don't think she really impressed. And if she was trying to impress the higher ups, and if the plan is for her to win the title at day one, I could see those plans being revoked after this match, to be honest. I didn't think it was a great performance from her. It was definitely one of Becky's weakest big matches she's ever had. Just very sloppy stuff from Liv Morgan, very awkward at points, and they just didn't seem to have much chemistry in the ring. So hopefully, if they do have a rematch at day one, hopefully that's a lot better, and hopefully Liv shines in that match, because this was not really it. But overall, solid episode of Monday Night Raw. I bet it did peak with the Edge and Miz segment and the opening steel cage match, which I should have main evented, because that was the better match. And it would have been a bigger moment with Bobby Lashley, knocking him down and possibly setting up a 34-way. But that's just my take. Decent show. Some sad news to report. Konami looks like she is going to be taking a lot of time off. In good news though, Julia is returning on December 29th. She will face Konami, but after this, Konami will be taking a lot of time off. From what I'm reading, it looks like she may be wrestling occasionally in 2022 in Stardom, or maybe not in Stardom, but we might be wrestling a little bit in 2022. But for the most part, she is going to be away for a year or so to focus on healing up, basically. It looks like she's beaten and bruised, and she just needs time to heal up. Jungle Kyona has been discharged from the hospital and is gearing up to return, hopefully in the new year. And then with TJPW, Nodoka Tenma and Marika Kobashi are both graduating from Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. And Nodoka Tenma will be retiring completely in March of 2022. While Marika Kobashi will be leaving professional wrestling in April of 2022. It is said that she will return one day, possibly. She's not ruling it out, she's not retiring, but she is not going to be wrestling for the foreseeable future, as there's other things she wants to do and explore. This is sad and heartbreaking news for all three, Konami, Marika and Nodoka Tenma. Nodoka Tenma is one of my favourites in TJPW. She's just an excellent superstar, really funny, super comedic. She's going to be a big loss to TJPW. Hopefully Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling picks up at least 4 or 5 new talent to really replace the holes, because they're going to need it, because Nodoka Tenma is a big miss. And then Marika Kobashi, who I believe, again, much like Sena Shiori, was going to be the future of Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, but apparently I'm cursed, and anyone I pick as the future, I guess, retires young. Hopefully, much like Sena, hopefully she'll be back in the future, but it's a heartbreaking loss for Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. And also Konami for Stardom. I had my issues with the UWF match, but Konami is still a great performer, and it's sad to see her go at the end of the year. Hopefully she's going to go out on a bang with Julia. Their last match was phenomenal, so hopefully this one is just as good. And hopefully she has a couple of matches in 2022, even if it's not full time, even if it's just a couple of matches. It'll be cool to see her wrestle a couple of times. But yeah, big losses for Stardom and TJPW, and big losses for the wrestling industry. Hopefully both companies pick up some new people, especially in Stardom, as a lot of them are bruised and battered and taped up. They really need a bigger roster so that people can take time off. You know, let's say a wrestler wrestles for 6 months, and then you get 2 months off. Then you rest for 6 months, 2 months off. It'd be a great cycle like that, just so they can have the 6 months of wrestling, then get a couple of months to replenish and, you know, nurse their injuries. And then Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, it's going to become stale if you have a short roster, if you have a small roster. So they need a few more people. Hopefully someone like an Ayano Iri would be a great fit for them. But we'll see what's going to happen in the future. There's still going to be a lot of changes in the Joshi world coming up. Also, another note, I do want to say this, if there's anything throughout the week that you want me to cover on this podcast or talk about, or a question that you have for me, make sure to just message me on Twitter or something, whether it be public or in direct messages, and I may take a look at it and may cover it if it's of interest to me. So definitely give your ideas and questions to me. Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Decent Wrestling Show. Again, like, comment, share, subscribe, and arrivederci.
짠해.